You don't have to speak loudly to be felt. Your calm shifts the energy in a room before you even say a word, and people can't quite explain why they feel different around you. It's your quiet confidence, your deep observation, your presence that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands it. While others rush to prove themselves, you stay still, reading everything, missing nothing, and waiting for the right moment to act. This isn't arrogance, it's the quiet power of someone who has spent years learning to trust themselves in a world that rarely slows down enough to see them clearly. This video is for the INFJ and Sigma INFJ who walk softly but leave a mark wherever they go. So you can finally see that your quiet energy has been your greatest power all along. You've never been the type to jump in just to be seen. You walk into a room and before you say a word, you're already reading everything. You notice the way someone's eyes dart when they're uncomfortable, the slight tension in someone's shoulders, the subtle shifts in tone that others miss completely. It's not that you're quiet because you have nothing to say. You're quiet because you're absorbing, processing, preparing. You watch how people interact. You sense the energy in the room. You gather data that others overlook while they're busy trying to impress or dominate the conversation. You've learned that real power isn't loud. It's not in speaking first or taking up all the space. It's in observation and patience and understanding the moment before acting. While others rush in, driven by impulse or the need for validation, you hold back, not out of fear, but out of intention. You know that actions carry weight when they're rooted in awareness, that words hit harder when they're delivered with timing and insight. And so you wait, you listen, you take in the details others consider irrelevant, and you store them like pieces of a puzzle, knowing they will matter when the time is right. This ability to read people and situations gives you an edge that most can't understand. They think you're passive, shy, or disconnected, but the truth is you're calculating quietly, waiting until your move will have the most impact. You don't waste your energy trying to be heard above the noise because you know that when you do speak, it will matter. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's presence, it's depth. It's the quiet gathering of strength that will guide your next step with precision. And when you finally do act, it's not random or reactive. It's powerful, intentional, and impossible to ignore. You've probably noticed it, even if you don't talk about it. The way people gravitate toward you without you trying, the way your calm energy draws them in when the world feels chaotic. You're not loud, you don't demand the spotlight, and you're not trying to be the center of attention, yet somehow people feel safer around you. It's not because you're trying to impress them, it's because your presence feels different. You actually listen, you see people, you pick up on the subtleties others ignore, and you make people feel like they matter without even saying much. It's not something you force, it's just who you are. Your depth is like a quiet current that others can sense even if they can't explain it. While others scramble to be noticed, you're content observing, reflecting, and staying true to yourself. And ironically, that's exactly what makes you stand out. People are drawn to the energy of someone who doesn't need validation, who doesn't need to prove their worth, who simply exists in their own truth. Your calm is a refuge for those who are used to the noise and chaos of surface-level interactions. You might not realize how rare this is. In a world where so many are trying to be seen, your grounded presence is a breath of fresh air. People find themselves opening up to you, sharing things they've never told anyone else because they can feel that you're actually there with them. Not distracted, not judging, just present. And while you never ask for this attention, it follows you. It's not about popularity or praise. It's about connection, the quiet kind that goes deeper than words, the kind that makes people feel understood without having to explain themselves. And this is part of your quiet power. You don't need to chase influence because you embody it naturally. Your energy speaks before you do, letting people know they are safe to be themselves in your presence. And while others may wonder why people trust you so quickly, you know the truth. It's because you see them. And in a world that constantly overlooks people's true selves, that alone is magnetic. You've never been the type to act without thinking. While the world rushes to react, to prove something, to be first, you pause, you let your mind process the details others overlook, the subtle shifts in energy, the unspoken words, the patterns beneath the surface. It's not hesitation, It's precision. You're not slow because you're uncertain. You're deliberate because you care about the impact of your act. You think deeply, not just about what you're going to do, but about why you're doing it and what it will mean for everyone involved. This is your quiet superpower. People might misinterpret your silence as indecision, but what they don't see is the storm of insight moving beneath your calm exterior. You're calculating, connecting dots others don't even know exist, weighing the consequences, and ensuring that when you do move, it's with intention. And when you finally take action, it's not random. It's powerful, clear, and effective because it's rooted in deep awareness. You don't need to act for the sake of acting. You don't take up space just to be seen. You act when it's necessary, and when you do, people feel it. They feel the energy, shift, the decisiveness, the calm authority that says, I thought this through. While others may be loud in their reactions, you let your actions speak for you, and they speak volumes. This depth of thought before action is what makes you trustworthy. People begin to notice that when you do step in, it's because it truly matters. You're not impulsive, and you don't need constant validation to reassure you that you're on the right path. You've already evaluated the possibilities, prepared for the outcomes, and ensured your actions align with your values. This is what sets you apart. You're not afraid to wait, to reflect, to hold back until the moment is right, because you know that real power is not in being the fastest or the loudest, but in being the most intentional. This is how you lead quietly, how you create change without chaos, and how you earn respect without demanding it. Your deep thinking becomes your guide, allowing you to move with clarity and purpose in a world that rarely slows down to think at all. You've always noticed how, when everything falls apart, you don't. While others scramble, raise their voices, or freeze in chaos, you become even calmer. It's not that you don't feel the tension. You do. You feel it deeply. But instead of letting it control you, you channel it into focus. You breathe through the noise, slow your mind, and begin to see the situation clearly while others are clouded by panic. This is your quiet strength, your hidden power that most people don't even realize until they're standing beside you in the storm, leaning on your steady energy. You don't crave crisis, but you don't fear it either. Chaos sharpens you. It's when your insight, your intuition, and your emotional intelligence rise to the surface, allowing you to guide others without needing to dominate them. You don't need to shout instructions to be heard. Your calm presence alone becomes the anchor everyone else holds onto. People sense your steadiness, even if they can't name it, and it brings them comfort they didn't know they needed. This calm under pressure didn't come naturally. It was forged in your own storms, and in all the moments you held yourself together quietly when your world was falling apart, and all the times you chose to breathe through pain rather than let it break you. You've trained yourself to find clarity in chaos, to remain grounded when everything feels uncertain, and to trust yourself when others are doubting everything. And the truth is, people remember this about you. They may not always appreciate your depth in everyday moments, but when things go wrong, they look to you, they trust you, not because you force them to, but because your energy feels safe when everything else is unstable. They see the way you move, how you listen, how you guide without ego, and they begin to understand that real strength isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-trust. This is why your calm changes rooms, why your presence makes people feel safe to breathe again. Because while the world teaches people to respond with noise, you've learned to respond with clarity. And that's a power very few truly possess. You've never needed to be loud to lead. You don't walk into a room demanding attention, forcing your ideas, or trying to prove your worth. Instead, you lead by how you listen, how you observe, and how you choose your words with care. Your influence doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from the trust you build quietly, from the empathy you extend even when it's not returned, and from the steady wisdom you share when it truly matters. People often overlook this kind of leadership at first. They expect leaders to be the loudest voices, the ones who take up space and dominate conversations. But you lead in your own way. You notice the unspoken needs, the tension under the surface, the things people are too afraid to say out loud. And when the time is right, you speak. Not to overshadow, but to guide, not to command, but to uplift. Your words land differently because you're not speaking to be heard, you're speaking because you have something worth saying. This quiet leadership is powerful because it's authentic. It doesn't rely on fear or ego. It's rooted in presence, in your ability to understand people deeply, and in your willingness to stand by your values, even when no one else does. You're the one people turn to when they're lost, not because you have all the answers, but because you help them find their own. You're the steady hand in uncertainty, the calm voice when emotions are high, the reminder that strength doesn't have to be loud to be real. What many don't realize is that this kind of leadership requires courage. It takes strength to lead with compassion instead of control, to inspire rather than intimidate, to guide without seeking praise. But you've chosen this path because you know it's the one that truly creates change, not just in situations, but in people's hearts. You don't need to announce that you're a leader, you simply lead, and people naturally begin to follow because they can feel your depth, your integrity, and your genuine desire to make things better without seeking credit. This is the quiet power of an INFJ or Sigma INFJ, leading with presence, not pressure, and leaving a lasting impact long after the moment has passed. Your sensitivity has never been a weakness, no matter how many times the world tried to convince you it was. In reality, it's your superpower, a tool you've learned to wield with quiet precision. While others see emotions as distractions or something to hide, you see them as information, as signals that help you read people, moments, and spaces with incredible accuracy. You notice the hesitation in someone's voice, the shift in their energy, the truth behind their words, even when they can't see it themselves. This emotional insight doesn't just make you understanding, it makes you powerful. You walk into a room and feel what others feel. You sense tension before it turns into conflict. You catch the small changes in tone that reveal what someone is too afraid to say out loud. And instead of ignoring these signals, you use them to guide your choices, your conversations, and your decisions. You know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to push and when to step back, all because you're tuned into the emotional undercurrents that others miss. People often misunderstand this depth. They think you're overthinking, too sensitive, or too emotional. But what they don't see is how you've learned to translate these feelings into wisdom. You don't react impulsively, you process, reflect, and respond in a way that aligns with who you are. You don't use your insight to manipulate or control. You use it to connect, to support, and to move through life with intention. This emotional intelligence is why people trust you, even if they can't explain why. It's why they feel seen around you, why they open up, and why they lean on your perspective when they feel lost. You don't dismiss feelings, you understand them, and that understanding becomes your compass. It guides you to make decisions that others might not have the courage or clarity to make. Your sensitivity is not a flaw to fix, it's the quiet edge that sets you apart, allowing you to navigate a noisy world with a rare kind of strength. It's what makes you an INFJ or Sigma INFJ, who leads not by force, but by deeply understanding the people and situations around you. And in a world that often overlooks the power of emotional insight, you continue to prove softness can be strength and feeling deeply can be the foundation of unshakable power. You've learned that solitude isn't loneliness, it's a path to power. While others fear being alone, you've discovered that those quiet moments are where you find your deepest strength. Time alone has never been about isolation for you. It's been about discovery, reflection, and growth. It's in those late nights, when the world goes quiet, that you've faced your fears, explored your thoughts, and understood your feelings without the noise of other people's opinions clouding your mind. You didn't become strong by accident. You became strong because solitude gave you the space to ask the hard questions about who you are and what you truly want. It's in that solitude that you learn to trust yourself, to listen to your intuition, and to respect your boundaries. You've had to navigate challenges without anyone to guide you. And while that was painful, it forced you to develop resilience that doesn't depend on external validation. You became your own anchor, your own compass, your own source of encouragement when no one else was around to offer it. This self-trust is what sets you apart. While others are constantly seeking reassurance or following the crowd to feel secure, you've learned that your power comes from within. You don't need to be surrounded by people to feel valuable. You don't need the constant buzz of social approval to know you're on the right path. Your solitude has taught you how to move through life with quiet certainty, making choices that align with your values, even if others don't understand them. And because of this, your energy feels different to people. They can sense the calm you carry, the way you don't need to force your presence to be felt. They notice how you move with purpose, how you speak with clarity, and how you remain steady even when chaos swirls around you. That's the power that solitude has given you, a quiet, unshakable confidence that doesn't need to announce itself because it simply exists, grounded and real. Your time alone has been your training ground, your sanctuary, your teacher. It's where you learned that your sensitivity is a strength, your intuition is a guide, and your depth is not a burden, but a gift. It's why when you re-enter the world, you do so with an energy that changes every room you walk into. Because your solitude didn't isolate you, it transformed you into someone who can stand alone without fear, knowing that your power doesn't come from being seen by others, but from seeing yourself clearly. You've never needed to shout about who you are or what you're capable of. While others boast, exaggerate, and seek praise for every small achievement, you've learned the quiet art of letting your actions do the talking. You don't waste energy trying to convince others of your worth because you know that true strength isn't proven by words, it's proven by results. Your consistency speaks for you in ways that loud declarations never could. Day after day, you show up, you give your best, and you keep your word, even when no one is watching. You don't need an audience to motivate you, and you don't need validation to keep going. You know who you are, and you trust the process, even when it feels slow or unrecognized. This quiet discipline is what sets you apart because while others burn out chasing attention, you build quietly, steadily, and with purpose. People eventually notice. They may not see the effort you put in at first, but your results become undeniable over time. Your calm energy, your thoughtful presence, and your steady progress are impossible to ignore. You don't need to tell people you're capable. They see it in the way you navigate challenges, in the way you handle setbacks with resilience, and in the way you remain grounded while others are swept away by distractions and drama. And it's not just about achievements or outward success. Your actions reflect your values, your integrity, and your commitment to living authentically. You don't promise what you can't deliver. You don't pretend to be something you're not. Your quiet consistency proves your reliability and your strength in a world where many people only talk about what they plan to do. You're already doing it, living your truth, honoring your path, and letting your growth speak for itself. This is what real confidence looks like. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need constant applause. It moves quietly but leaves a lasting impact wherever it goes. You've learned that it's better to be respected for your actions than admired for empty words. And that's why your energy feels different. People sense that your presence is not a performance, but a reflection of real, hard-earned wisdom and strength. Your quiet consistency is your superpower. It's what allows you to keep building, keep improving, and keep becoming the person you're meant to be without needing to prove yourself to anyone. And in the end, the life you build through this quiet dedication will say everything you've never needed to say out loud. If you've ever felt like your quiet presence speaks louder than words, you're not alone. Your calm, your depth, your ability to lead without shouting, it's what makes you powerful in a world that doesn't always see it. Here on Brainy One, you're seen. If this resonated with you, subscribe and come back whenever you need a reminder of your quiet strength. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You're already enough exactly as you are.